Hello, Battletech fans, and welcome to my 1.8 discussion. So this is the 1.8 patch discussion that's due to release with the DLC Heavy Metal. So we're just going to go talk through the possible additions with the 1.8 patch, and talk about what we would like to see in the 1.8 patch, and then also I guess this is all going to be opinion based. There's no 100% facts on everything here, but also talk about the possible future of HBS. So everything is kind of opinion based, hearsay, some things that have been released. So there's some things that are going to be factual, some things that are, that might not be added into the game or added into the patch. So just bear that in mind. All right, so let's get into it. So we definitely know that the Warhammer and Marauder are definitely going to be additions in the 1.8 patch. So we finally get our hands on those mechs. So I know it's been a heck of a battle that they dealt with the other company, which I won't mention. But yeah, so they finally are able to implement these unseen mechs, and I can't wait to play both of them, and they seem like really awesome mechs from what I've been reading and seeing, so I can't wait to get my hands on those mechs. And yeah, and it's really awesome that HBS did that and not release it with the actual DLC, or not have you purchase the DLC to get access to these mechs. So I think it's something that is like kind of owed to the Kickstarters and everything. So I think they kind of figured, you know what, it's these mechs were kind of owed to you guys, so we're just going to release it in the patch. So as long as you have the original BattleTech game, you get those two mechs, which is an awesome thing. So again, HBS is building an awesome community as well as an awesome game. So they've just over these course of these past 2 years, it's been amazing how far BattleTech has grown. Not only just the game, but the actual I wouldn't say board game, but the actual game you play in person. Like there's so much attention that's kind of going towards BattleTech again. It's great to see all this talk, and it's just a great time to be playing, and to see what HBS is going to do next is going to be amazing. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So this is my thank you to them. Thank you for making a great game and building a great community. It's just been nothing short but of amazing. So it's awesome what you guys have done, and keep up with the great work. I think you guys work your ass off, and I know that for a fact. So yeah, so let's go into a little bit more detail. So obviously these mechs are going to come in with the quirks that the other DLC heavy metal mechs are going to have, so that's cool. So the Warhammer has like a capacitor, and that's going to give increased percentage to damage to energy weapons, so that's really cool. I believe it's like 20% increased damage to energy weapons. And then the Marauder has a quirk of reduced damage, so reduction of damage. Now that one's kind of interesting, and I kind of go over that in my Marauder review. How is that going to be implemented? And obviously a lot of balancing issues are a big thing, and a lot of concern has been raised about it. And I personally feel this is not going to be a thing, but let's say you have 4 Marauders, and is it going to stack, that sort of thing? The percentages of damage reduction. And I don't think it is, but I think we have to move away from that question, because I doubt that's going to be that way. So the questions that probably we should be asking ourselves is it going to is it going to affect cover, bulwark? Those are the types of things that I would like to know. Yeah, and also how it's going to play out. So I also talked about how ECM plays, in the game, and how it works in the game, how it functions in the game. Like there's like kind of like a circle or kind of like a sphere of influence in a way, and I feel like that's how the Marauder is going to play out with its damage reduction. So yeah, I think that's going to be a thing. I really feel like, again, this is an opinion of mine. This is not a fact, but I feel like that's probably how they're going to go about it. And just, as long as you're near the Marauder, you're going to get that bonus. So I feel like they're going to lean towards that idea, I think. But yeah, so we have those two awesome mechs coming our way. I can't wait to play it, and I'm sure you can't either. So moving on from those mechs, so we know we get those in the 1.8 patch, and also that they've talked about new missions coming into career mode. Now, I'm not talking about the mini campaign. That's not what I'm discussing here, but apparently they're adding more flashpoints, more just generic missions, maybe mission types. They could be adding in career mode. So that'd be really interesting to see. Again, subject to change, opinions and stuff like that. Again, but I feel like, as new missions come into play here, and this is going to kind of go into the other segment of what we want, but talking about being able to play any mission irregardless of reputation, I think that's more important than adding new missions. Reputation should play a factor, and again, I'm not going to go into it fully yet, but so like the new missions, I feel like are going to be maybe just more flashpoints in general, and pretty fun flashpoints. So I'm hoping that there's more to it. Maybe there's another mission type like attack and defend, and target acquisition. I feel like those added to the game a little bit, but I feel like there should be something else to it. So hopefully we get another mission type. That'd be awesome. So we're going to talk about this other possible addition to the 1.8 patch is the quality of life upgrades. So one of them we kind of do know from watching their stream, and from what I can almost confirm 100% that this is going to be in the game, but they added rotating mech option in the mech bay, which is awesome, and it was a great mod. But I was waiting for HBS to add it because why not? And it's just like another cool factor of like, hey, let me look at my mech and see how it looks, and just any kind of function that we can look at the mechs, because it's eye candy, right? We love looking at mechs, and we love anything to do with mechs. So having that option in the game is awesome. So I think that was a great quality of life upgrade. So that was definitely a win, alongside of the addition of the mechs. So what other quality of life upgrades are they going to have here? So with the interface, trying to think of anything with the interface that might need an upgrade at all. Yeah, I'm not really thinking there might be any. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's huge. Again, it's maybe there's something to do with career mode score. That's also a thing that they could mess with. So I know that's kind of been a thing. So yeah, I think career mode is going to be maybe the career mode score is going to be changed in some form with this quality of life upgrade. Maybe something to do with maybe potential lessen of lag, or other kind of lighting improvements or anything like that. I know, going back to Urban Warfare, I know they had some slight complaints with the urban biome. So that was one that some computers couldn't handle very well, and it took a long time to load. So maybe that's something they'll address in this 1.8 patch. Hopefully that will be the case, because not that I'm seeing it, but I just, obviously I want to see people enjoy the game. So hopefully that will get fixed. So I also heard that HBS obviously wants to help the light mechs out and have them be more viable in the late game. So what I've heard so far, this is hearsay. I haven't read it anywhere officially, but apparently there's going to be a light drop bonus added to your score. So if you drop a light lance, you could get a bonus score. So something along those lines. It's not clearly how that's going to be scored, but yeah, that's really interesting. That's one way to get people to play a little bit differently and play the light mechs a little bit later in the game. But the only issue I have with that is, not to be controlling, not have HBS control the way I play. Because let's just face it, if we get what I guess the Kerensky score, right? The highest score above elite. So yeah, I honestly feel like they could try to control us to the only way you get this is if you play lights in the end. So hopefully that's not the case either. But yeah, maybe just entice us a little bit, maybe in order to get to those scores. We could use that way, but the other way is a little bit more difficult, if you kind of get what I'm saying with that. So that will be interesting for sure. So yeah, let's talk about the lights here a little bit. I know that they're going to add these new coil weapons, and they're trying to, obviously with these quirks, they're trying to make these light mechs more viable. But again, I just don't see it being used in the late game as much. Now, I know there's people that had lights only campaigns and they've done well, but these are veteran players. Now, you could learn and you can develop, obviously, but veteran players know how to use their mechs. They know how to take double turns. They know how to do all that stuff. I think it's just getting the new players to enjoy the light mechs, and maybe they enjoy them so much in the early game that they might want to take them all the way to the end. I'm hoping that's what HBS is going for, but again, this is all hearsay and opinion based. So maybe there'll be really fun in the early game for me, and I would want to take him all the way to the end here, which would be fun. I'm not gonna lie, I would love to have light mechs at the end sometimes. Maybe just want to get behind the assault lance and start chipping away at their back armor and get some crits and blow them up. Sure, that sounds like a fun idea, but it's in the long run of things, I just don't see light mechs being that extremely viable. Now, if they do this light drop bonus, I could see maybe I'm like 10,000 points from the best score ever, and the only way I can do that is to drop lights here. Okay, that's cool. I'm fine with that, but hopefully it's not to where it's like I have to drop a light lance. I have to take a lighter. I have to take a light lance in the assault phase at some point. I have to do it. Hopefully it's not like I have to. It's kind of like it's an option. So hopefully that's the case. All right, so the last thing that I know of that could be added to this 1.8 patch is mod support. So a lot of things coming from this, and I'm sure the modding community is thrilled to finally get some support with that. And I think like people like developers like Rogue Tech are just gonna explode even further from this. And shout out to those guys, the Rogue Tech community and the Rogue Tech mod team. Just kudos to them. I personally have not played Rogue Tech, but I've seen a lot of other YouTubers play Rogue Tech, and all I have to say is they have really kept this game going even further. They brought more attention to this game, and they kept people's attention on this game while HBS was developing their DLCs and more content. So a big shout out to those guys, like just a fantastic job and where they are right now. And it's just amazing how far they've come. And I know they put in hours upon hours and thousands upon thousands of hours of work to get to where they are. So big kudos to them. But with mod support, what could happen at this point? Now, I'm just wondering, like, different mission types, right? So now we can add some different mission types to the game more reliably. There might be more maybe different maps. That would be a fun thing. Different maps could be implemented. Different type of mechs that could be implemented. There's just a slew of things that could be added that could be coming from this mod support. But there's one big thing that I know for sure. When companies usually release mod support that never had mod support to begin with, usually means they're moving on from the project. Again, this is hearsay, this is my opinion, but most of the time they move away from the project. And I am not, I am not like dissing HBS in any sense of the matter at all. They've done a lot of work with this. They've had a lot of success with this, and their future is bright. So I have no doubt in my mind that they could revisit Battletech and add another DLC if they truly wanted to do it, or add another large patch where hey, here, have these mechs, have more mechs, have more things to play with. Here's things that you can do. But I have a feeling that they're working on other projects right now, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But with mod support, it's just awesome that the community is awesome, and you can tell by Rogue Tech and what they've done now with mod support. It's almost limitless what they can do. So that's really great news to hear, and I'm happy that there is mod support. So great for modders, great for the community, awesome ad. So kind of like a recap of everything for the definite ads or the possible ads to 1.8 here is, I think the Warhammer Marauder is a win, obviously. Some quality of life upgrades, and I think mod support are the biggest wins here for sure. I think those are the big things that are going to come out of 1.8. And again, I just find this an amazing time to be a Battletech fan and a Mech fan. This is going to have a big impact when both of these are released into the game, so the DLC and the 1.8 patch. I know a lot of people have their doubts, like, this is not, there's not enough to like really change the game, really change how the game plays out. I'm like, I beg to differ. I really feel like, in my opinion, this patch along with the DLC is going to change the game significantly in how people play, just from the vanilla part of it, how people play and decide their actions throughout their career mode and game. So yeah, so that's going to be my my possible ads talk. So we're going to talk about what we would want out of the 1.8 patch. So I don't know everything that could be added to the 1.8 patch. Those are kind of the possibilities that I just talked about. So here's some of the things that many people have talked about and possibly would want in the 1.8 patch. So, or maybe sometime down the future, HBS could add these. So let's talk about the reputation fix. It is a big problem, and I'm gonna go into some theory crafting with why it is the way it is right now, and it has to do with something with the light mechs. I have a feeling. Again, this is opinion. It's an opinion of mine, but yeah. So the reputation fix. So I'm sure you all have had all of these, gone through your career mode, and you've run into a problem where you go into, maybe a 4.5, 5 skull planet, and there's only like 2 or 3 missions that you can pick from because those are the only factions that like you. And the other missions that are there that are listed are pretty much all the factions that despise you or dislike you. So this is a big problem that I find. And I'm trying to figure out why HBS decided that this was okay or this was fine. So I'm going to go into a big theory here. This is really reaching here. It has something to do with the light mechs and making the light mechs viable. So for instance, and this is against your career mode, so they're basically kind of like either you do this or you don't do this. But what they want you to do is go back to those other low skull planets with your light mechs and play out those missions in order to gain rep back, and then go all the way up the chain. So it's like doing another campaign all over again to get reputation. Again, this is a theory of mine, but I think that was one of their solutions to the light mechs and not being able to be used. So again, I've seen other players use light mechs all the way through their entirety of their campaigns or their career modes. So it's not like impossible, but again, this is a theory of mine, and I think it was one of their solutions that it just didn't pan out correctly. But so how do we fix the reputation is pretty much the real question that we need to ask. And there's multiple ways that I feel like you could do this, and one of the easiest ways is that HBS can implement. So like we talked about, so you're in the later stages and you're on a 4 skull to 5 skull planet, and let's say there's 4 factions and 3 of those factions dislike you. Well, you know what? You should get majority of missions from that faction, right? Now, here's the big key to that: is as long as you're in that faction's ownership space. So like let's say you're in Capellan space, right? And the Capellans like you, but like the Pirates and Steiner or whatever else, those other factions don't like you. You should receive the majority of those faction missions of the Lao missions. So the Capellan missions, you should see, let's say out of 7, you see 5 Lao Capellan missions versus 2 other pirate missions or whatever it happens to be, the negative factions, because you are in Capellan space. Now, if you're in the periphery or somewhere else, that doesn't have any factions to them, then yeah, I could see a kind of a mixed bag there. But when you're when you're liked by one faction, I could see that being a thing. So if you're allied or close to being allied or honored, as they call it, you should be able to receive the majority of those missions from that faction. Even though you're hated by other factions, you should receive primarily missions from that faction that you're liked by while you're in their space. So that is one solution. I think it's an easy solution to implement. I think it's the simplest solution to add to the game, and it makes it much, much better. Again, let's say you're not completely liked or honored, right? But you're kind of 50-50 with everybody, you should receive about that amount between all those factions that are listed in those planets. So on that planet. So it should be like, 2 Lao, 2 Steiner, 2 pirates, something along those lines, where, maybe you get 3 pirate, 2 Steiner, 2 Capellan, whatever it happens to be. That's one way, that's one simple solution to deal with that. And there's another way to deal with this as well. So let's say you're even hated and you get pretty much, let's say the pirates hate you and you get all pirate missions. And obviously you can't do those pirate missions, right? But let's just say, for example, because of your MRB rating is so high that perhaps they might be more lenient and allow you to do those missions, but for a less price, for less salvage, less payout, whatever happens to be. Or you pay them to take that mission. You say, I want to take that mission, but I want 1 salvage at least. And you build your reputation that way, right? Something along those lines, I feel like you could make reputation much, much better. And again, I think this was the biggest miss HBS has had, is the reputation, because it is a struggle. So once you get to the late game, if you are not like friendly with everybody, you are going to be struggling. You are going to be moving from planet to planet more often, and you're going to be like, oh, I only have 2 missions. Now I have to go to another planet, and then you get another 2 missions, maybe 3. So that's the biggest problem, and I'm hoping 1.8 addresses this in some form or another. So that's my little rant about the reputation. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and if you have any suggestions to fix reputation, leave in the comments below. I really like to hear what you guys think. So let's move on from that. Another thing that I would like to see is not having to do flashpoints to activate certain mechs. I think that's something that could just go away. I could understand maybe the Raven a little bit, but the Hatchet Man, that's one of them. You have to do a flashpoint to activate that one, I believe. So hopefully that will go away and that doesn't continue with this heavy metal DLC. I'm hoping that is the case, because it's just annoying that you're just forced to go and do those missions to unlock those mechs. Now the Raven I can understand a little bit, but the other one I don't think so. So that's pretty much my my hope for that is just, even the Raven at this point, like maybe even have an option that you can tick and say, you don't have to do the flashpoints to in the difficulty options, you don't have to do the flashpoints to or maybe not even that, maybe it's just in gameplay in general, just to tick off just like all mechs are available or something like that. So like you don't have to do flashpoints. I think they can do something in those regards. Absolutely. I think that's a very doable thing. I'm sure that people are going to say, well, you can go get it in a mod or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I can, but I don't want, I want it in the base game. So I don't want to have to rely on a mod, So I think that's something that they could possibly fix or do in 1.8. The other want would be possibly paint schemes. I know there's, they have like 6 variations of paint schemes or camo schemes. More colors, maybe even a color palette that you could choose from, more customizations to your mechs to fit your company and style. I think that's something that HBS could easily implement. So I think that's a very that we actually could see that in 1.8. So that's more of a 1.8 possibility for sure. But yeah, more paint schemes. Let's see here. Mech loadout saves. I know I was discussing with that with somebody about that earlier, with a subscriber about that, and we're talking about why haven't they done like a preset, something along those lines, having a preset loadout so you don't have to like, write it down or, take a screenshot or whatever, however you do it, or try to remember like, oh, how do I build this mech? Having preset loadouts for those mechs, it's not a bad idea. And it's something that, could be down the road, or, maybe they'll do something in 1.8 for that, but I would like to see that for sure. And yeah, I think that's a real strong possibility, and I'm kind of wondering why they haven't done that, but yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea to have mech loadout saves. It would definitely save some people some time. So some other things to talk about, maybe more mech variants. I know this is kind of touching base, but more mech variants in the game. Just something to, more customization and more longevity of play. Having more mech variants would be really cool. So more mech variants would be awesome to play with the current mechs that are in the game. So that'd be awesome. And I guess finally, there's one bug that I would love to get fixed, and I think this is a really cool implementation that HBS had added to, to add to the difficulty of the game, is the random drops. So like the little drop pods that they added into the game, I think that's really awesome. But I found that there's, this happened to me a couple of times, and one of my recent playthroughs, I've had that happen with me. I think it was on episode 10, and I was fighting. I was fighting 2 assaults and another drop pod. A drop pod landed behind them, and it didn't load one of the mechs, and the mech kind of fell through the game, and it never got loaded properly, and I couldn't finish the game without taking a failure. So it was a good faith withdrawal. Unfortunately, I had to do it, but it's something like that, like maybe they could address and fix. So I'm kind of hoping that they fix enemy drops. So I think, if they do that and we don't have any more issues with that, I think that'd be really fun. So yeah, so that's kind of pretty much everything I wanted to go over with, what we would possibly want added to the 1.8 patch. And if you guys have any suggestions below, just leave in the comments below, and let's start a discussion, and what else would we like to see with 1.8. That'd be really awesome. So let's talk about the future of HBS. And again, this is all opinion based. This is not factual. This is just an opinion of mine. I know I've repeated that throughout this whole entire video, but I just want to make clear that this is not something that's 100% factual. This is just an opinion, a guess, however you want to say it. But this is my honest look at HBS, from Battletech. So as we kind of talked about earlier, what is going to happen with HBS, and what are they going to continue making more DLCs for Battletech? And obviously with the release of mod support, I'm just going to say probably not. It's less likely. You're probably going to see more content come through patching. But who knows? Maybe they'll release something random somewhere. They have something in their pocket and they might release something else. But I figure that they're pretty much done with Battletech at this point. They're moving on to other projects, if not already have moved on to other projects. So what other projects could there be in the works? Obviously Battletech 2. Now with the Heavy Metal DLC, they kind of hint towards, Natasha Kerensky, and obviously her being the Black Widow, and obviously the Wolf Dragoons. Obviously, it's getting to that point of clan invasion. So I feel like Battletech 2, they're working with how they're going to implement the clan invasion and everything else. So that's Battletech 2. I think they're already working on it. I think they've been working on it since probably maybe early 2019 at the very least. So yeah, I think they're already working on BattleTech 2, which would be awesome. I can't wait to play that. Again, this is just an opinion of mine, but yeah, they're definitely, I think they are in the process of working on BattleTech 2, the Clan Invasion. So that will be awesome when that gets released. So again, if they make another season pass, I'm buying it. These guys work so hard to, kind of work with the community and, make BattleTech fun and engaging. And it's just such an amazing game that they've made so far. And, whatever bugs that they had, they went out and fixed them and all that jazz. So again, I can't praise HBS enough for making this amazing game. But, yeah, I guess the question is, would they still make, some kind of expansions for BattleTech? And there's always that possibility, but I feel like there's a stronger possibility with more content being released through patches. I feel like they're still engaged with the community in that sense. Like they'll start adding like patches to the game, maybe more biomes, that sort of thing. But yeah, I definitely see BattleTech 2 coming out in the future. So that is what they're working on probably. And also, this is a suggestion. So I don't know if this is a thing or not, but this is to HBS. How about Battletech the card game? I don't know, like having a online version of that, or I'm sure a lot of people have played Hearthstone before and any other card game online. I really feel like this is an opportunity for them to take BattleTech, the BattleTech card game, and run with it. Now, I don't know if they have rights to it or not. I'm just, again, this is a suggestion. If they can, be awesome. They can run with that, I think. And the main reason why I say that, I look at their art, and their art's phenomenal. Whoever their artist is or artists are, they are fantastic. And just thinking about the opportunity here to make BattleTech the card game and having awesome graphics, on the cards and artwork, I think it's an opportunity for HBS to take. So if they're not working on it now, maybe put that in the works too, because I think that would be a good idea for you guys. And again, just bringing more attention to BattleTech and building a bigger community with it and drawing in new fans. I think this is what HBS wanted to do, and I think they hit all the marks here. So yeah, that's going to be my 1.8 talk through and potential updates and releases within that patch. Thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, this is going to be an amazing release on the 21st. So again, both the 1.8 patch and the heavy metal DLC will be released on November 21st. Again, things are subject to change, but yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I definitely plan on making a couple of playthroughs. So, so here first. So I'm going to do a normal playthrough of BattleTech Heavy Metal, and then the hardest possible difficulty in my other. So we're going to be I'll be doing them simultaneously. So that should be a lot of fun. Again, guys, leave comments below what you would like to see. If there are some definite ads that are going to be in the 1.8 patch, and if I haven't mentioned them, mention them in the comments below. That would be awesome. And again, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the rating button. And again, we are at 22 subscribers, so thank you so much. I never would imagine that I would be here at this point without you guys and your guys' comments and ratings. It's been an outpouring support, and I thank you guys every day, and I can't thank you guys enough for all the time that you guys have watched my videos. I really do appreciate it. and my subscriber goal is 30. So once we hit 30, I'll release a bonus episode in my career mode that I'm playing right now on my channel. So I'll link that in the description, and I suggest you go check that out. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.